Before we get started, I found two good quotes today that I always like short quotes. Knowledge isn't power until it's applied. That's from Dale Carnegie. And Thomas Edison said, vision without execution is hallucination. So, I know we're not on anything, but I can see your aura, and there's a lot of things going on in your mind right now. Just bring it back. Bring it back. We've given y'all a lot of new ideas. We talked about video for 2 months. Julie brought in some new programs with Travis Robertson for her classes on Monday. So we've presented a lot of new things to you. And as we told you, we were going to take a break. And this month we're going to spend some time helping you sort it all out. Because, quite frankly, there's just a lot of stuff to sort out sometimes. And it can be overwhelming. So today, we're going to talk about translating response into results. And I've titled this the Rennie Bickerstaff story. So, not this Rennie Bickerstaff, this Rennie Bickerstaff. There's now two of them running around, so please, you got to watch out. Growing up, my dad, I always knew my dad had great hand-eye coordination. I didn't know all of the history, but he always loved to fish, and he'd take me fishing. And through fishing, I found out that he was also a better shot than my uncle. And my uncle is a great shot. He loves to go dove hunting, quail hunting, but I found, you know how you find out these stories later in your life as you become an adult, and I guess they're age appropriate for you. I don't know what was wrong with these stories, but he just told me and my cousin Frank why my dad is such a great fisherman. And we were down at the farm talking about how I wish we could come down here more often. And they both kind of looked at each other and said, well, you know what they used to do to us when we were kids, because they're both the youngest of three, so they're first cousins, so they spent a lot of time together. And every Friday after school, my dad and Frank would get dropped off at the farm, and they wouldn't get picked up till about 5 or 6 p.m. on Sunday. They just left them down there, you know, with a BB gun, then a .22, a fishing pole, some crickets. And my grandparents' housekeeper, Johnny May, would come down on Saturdays and bring lunch. They probably made them split like one pimento cheese sandwich. And they would have to catch fish, and if they caught some fish, she would fry it up for them that afternoon. Now, I don't think they got dropped off every single weekend. It was probably 3 weekends out of the month, I bet. But, you know, they learned how to do a lot on their own by trying. There was no one really to teach them how to go fishing. So can you imagine how many hours they spent experimenting on where to go to the lake, what to cast, when to go fishing, when not to go fishing. They spent a lot of time down there, and because of that, I still do not like to get in the boat with my dad because he'll just say, what's the problem? He's just reeling in fish. What are you? He puts the same lure on my pole. I have the same pole, the same reel, and he just drives them wild all day long. But he's had years and years of experience. And he's progressed. You know, he's now 70 years old, so he's been fishing for arguably what, at least 65 years, probably 69 years. There's probably a picture of him in a diaper by himself at the lake with a pole for 3 days. So I didn't have any hair, it was probably all burnt off. So when I started thinking about a story to tell today, we've presented y'all with a lot of information. And do y'all know what the common bond is between these three words? Can anybody like to guess? Actually, I had to look at the pronunciation. You pronounce this Aural and Kinesthetic, and obviously that's visual. Do y'all know what those why they're related? It's ways we learn things. So You know how you learn things visually, by seeing them, whether you see pictures or you see a presentation like today. Aural is just hearing someone say something or listening to it. So what do you think kinesthetic is?
Doing it.
Trying it, applying it. So my father Rennie is a very what learner?
Kinesthetic.
Yeah, he's also very visual. He doesn't read or listen very much. He has to see things. So I want to talk about how you translate response into results, because when you hear something, you see something, you then have to
Do something.
Yes. Okay? So we've talked about lots of ways to manage your business, your time, ways to get listings, ways to market yourself. We've talked about the principles and strategies behind video. And we even spent a little time showing you how to do a couple of types of video. So to break these down, there's 4 ways to turn or translate your response into an actual result. And y'all know we're result drivers here. You got to get results. We talk about results all the time. You got to sell something. You got to do something. But first, if you really want to do that, if you go to a class, you go to a presentation, or you hear something, or you watch a video, or you read an article, and you want that to impact you personally or professionally, you have to do a couple things. First, you've got to learn it. So you've got to read it, you've got to see it, you've got to hear it. But then you got to try it. It's like when you're cooking. You can read the recipe, you can go to YouTube and watch a video, but if you want to really eat the cookies, you got to try to do what they just showed you how to do. So it's very important that you try it. And then when you try it, you got to practice it. You got to refine those skills, because the first time we do something, rarely is it our best. Well, it is our best effort. It may not be our best result. So you have to evaluate that. Based on what you've learned, how you tried it, and the different ways you practice it, evaluate it. Well, is that really helping me do what I thought it would do? Is it helping me get more listings? Is it helping me convert more leads? Is it helping me just be a healthier person? Whatever you're working on, whatever the result is you're trying to reach, you've got to take some time every once in a while to kind of evaluate what you're doing to get there. And the way you do that, if you want to get to results, a lot of those previous steps have to do with these first 3, with your philosophy, with your attitude, and the activity or discipline. Because with your philosophy, if you really don't believe that that's going to work, you're not going to do what? You're not going to try it. So if you've got kind of the wrong philosophy, then you may not have the right attitude about putting forth your best effort to actually do it, and then you'll never get to an activity where you're disciplined. But y'all know we've talked about that before. To break a bad habit, or let's say it differently, to start a new habit, you generally have to do something about 13 to 15 times. It's like if I want to lose 5 pounds, I can't get up on Saturday, eat 7 apples, drink a smoothie, and run 12 miles and then do nothing for the next 2 weeks. That would probably hurt me. But if I eat an apple a day, I start cutting back on my sweets, maybe I'll walk a mile a day. Gradually, it will become easier and easier to do that because, 1, I'll get a better attitude, I'll feel better, I'll see some gradual incremental results, and that activity and discipline really starts to affect your behavior, and that ultimately equals results. Now maybe I really wanted to lose 10 pounds, but if at least I lost 5, that's a start, and I can evaluate and refine what I'm doing to reach whatever that result is. So you have to think about those 3 things and how you approach the way you learn, the way you try, the way you refine, and the way you evaluate what it is you're doing. And if you remember, opportunity always follows difficulty. You know, what's after spring? Right? What's after summer?
Fall.
And what's after fall? Seasons don't really change. You know, so you can't expect something different to happen if it's just set up that way. So you have to be prepared for the opportunity. If you want to be prepared for spring, you do what? What do farmers do? They plant in the fall, right? That really hasn't changed. I mean, because that's where the opportunity is. So if you know where the opportunities are with things Julie's discussed or I've discussed, you need to determine where's that opportunity going to be so you can be prepared for it when it shows up. Because sometimes that opportunity is just a flash and then disappears. And I love reading this. Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenges, wish for more wisdom. You know, the advantages are there for you to take it, the opportunities are there for you to take advantage of, but you have to be prepared for them. If you really want to get more listings, do you want to wait till you go to that appointment for someone to ask you about your video marketing? Or do you want to know what you're going to do so that when they do ask, you'll be prepared for the opportunity to get that listing? You know, you want to be prepared. So, where are we? We've spent 4 months trying to teach y'all and introduce some new ideas, and you've been learning because I've talked to Julie. I've come to some of the classes. There's some great ideas out there. So you've been learning. Now we're right here. It's time for you to try some of those things if you haven't already. So just pick one thing. Go back through your notes from any business meetings or any classes, and just pick one thing that you haven't tried that you'd really like to. And try it next week. It doesn't have to be anything big. Don't go buy a $1,500 camera and say, I'm going to shoot video this weekend. Try something small that you know you have time to work on. It could be just getting your business organized with a contact management system. It could be as simple as calling 2 or 3 expireds a week, or calling a past client. Just pick one thing and try that next week, and then try it again, and then again, and keep practicing. I promise you, if you just pick one thing at a time, you'll start to get results. And that is the name of the game, and you have to be patient. They don't come immediately, but I promise you, if you do that, while you're trying new things, opportunities along the way will come, and you'll be better prepared for them. I appreciate y'all being here today. We'll see you next week. Thank you.